We don't win at the border with Mexico. We don't win anywhere.
We have a candidate who wants to tear families apart, who calls Mexicans rapists, who talks about banning Muslims from entering the country.
Donald Trump urging deportation for millions of undocumented immigrants. Hillary Clinton taking aim at that idea. The debate over immigration reaching the U.S. Supreme Court. Justices now split, blocking President Obama's plan to grant illegal immigrants the ability to stay in this country. Joining us now to talk about the impact on Oklahoma, immigration attorney Doug Stump. Doug, thank you so much for being here.
Good morning.
Good morning. So SCOTUS, the Supreme Court, has now been split over this decision when it comes to shielding undocumented immigrants from deportation. So it essentially means they made no decision. It's blocked. It's upheld the lower court's blocking of President Obama's initiative here. Is this surprising to you?
No, I think the important thing to look at is the Supreme Court didn't say that President Obama couldn't grant some type of relief. It's just he had to do it through a regulatory process. And unfortunately, the administration chose to take another avenue rather than do the traditional regulatory scheme.
Okay, so Donald Trump has famously said that we should deport 11 million undocumented immigrants. Is this even logistically feasible?
No, it's not possible. When we don't have the resources right now, it takes about 4 years from the time that you apprehend an undocumented alien, place them in immigration proceedings, and have them removed from the United States. And the focus right now is on criminal aliens. So when you start trying to deport grandmas and grandpas, it's just going to bury the system even worse.
Hillary Clinton has said that she wants to expand President Obama's executive order when it comes to immigration. She also wants to expand the DREAM Act to include the parents of children who were brought here illegally. Does this new Supreme Court ruling actually change her ability to promise those things, or can she still deliver on that?
She can still deliver on that. The Supreme Court ruling basically affirmed the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals decision that said President Obama should have followed a regulatory scheme. Instead, he chose to issue an executive order, and it just merely states that it can't be done through the order. Now, the interesting part is that since the Supreme Court didn't change that Fifth Circuit decision, it means also that Donald Trump just can't come out now with an executive order and say, I'm going to start changing immigration law. So it's a bittersweet decision. Many immigration advocates would have loved to have seen DAPA come into law, but many who fear what Donald Trump might try to do likewise are relieved that it's going to tie his hands.
Is it possible to incorporate all of these undocumented immigrants into our society, the ones that are already here, without granting that buzzword amnesty to all of them?
I think, an amnesty is just a blanket grant of relief. What we've seen in the preceding years that the Senate attempted to a couple years ago is pass immigration reform where you had to stair-step your way through to some type of lawful status by, paying fines and penalties. The Obama plan was a good step towards that, because what happened in 1996, Congress passed a series of laws that state if you enter the country illegally, you can't get a green card here now. You have to go home to pick up the green card, even if you otherwise qualify for it. But hidden away in that law is another provision that says if you've been in the U.S. unlawfully for more than 1 year, when you go home for any reason, even to get that green card, you must remain in your home country for 10 years before you can come back, unless you qualify for a special waiver. So you hear everyone say, we don't have a problem with the Hispanic community and granting relief to the undocumented. We just want them to do it the right way. But in effect, there's not a right way out there.
So we've talked before, I've interviewed you before about the obstacles to becoming a naturalized citizen, to doing immigration the legal way, and you just referenced yourself some of the issues. We know that they have taken away a number of Oklahoma judges that were adjudicating immigration cases. Are you still having to go to Dallas to?
We have to go to Dallas because the system, it's so overwhelmed with the numbers of removal, people being placed in removal proceedings, that they had to consolidate the courts. There's not enough judges to hear all these cases.
How many undocumented immigrants are there here in Oklahoma?
I don't think anyone really knows. I mean, some will say there could be, 100,000, but I think, for everyone that they may know about, I may know about 2 more.
Okay. So for your clients, what are they doing here? How are they making a living? A lot of people, the argument is they're filling jobs that Americans simply don't want.
I think we're seeing that they're taking jobs that clearly Americans don't want. The Immigration Service several years ago tried to implement a plan that they would come into a job site where known unlawful aliens were being employed, and they would encourage these companies to employ U.S. workers. They couldn't find U.S. workers to fill these jobs.
You were just at an immigration conference in Las Vegas, kind of a timely moment to have that conference, knowing that the Supreme Court just ruled on immigration, or kind of didn't rule on
Right.
immigration, so to speak. Did this come up in conversation, and how were your colleagues feeling about this non-ruling?
I think many of us suspected it. There are those out there who were trying to talk themselves into believing it was the wrong decision. But I think it was probably a right decision. It doesn't say the president can't grant relief. It just says that they need to follow the rules.
You are integrally involved in this topic. It's a buzzword when we talk about immigration and the political firestorm that's going on right now. When we say comprehensive immigration reform, what should that mean?
I think we need to clearly, enhance border security, because we're not going to get anywhere if we don't. If we find some way to make lawful, 12 million undocumented aliens, but we continue to have border incursions, then we haven't achieved anything. So I think there's an agreement that we must have enforcement, and then we must provide some type of relief to those who are here unlawfully. And another problem is business immigration. Each year we see that there's a tremendous need to bring in more foreign national professionals. You realize that 2/3 of all engineering students in the United States are foreign nationals? Our kids just don't want to tackle those difficult disciplines, but yet we don't have enough visas to employ these people who want to come and work here.
Well, certainly an issue that's going to take center stage when it comes to politics and a lot of people's lives here in Oklahoma. So